Many years after Jamshedji Tata, and this is also a story I narrate in the book Tata Stories. The chairman of the Tata Group was JRD Tata. JRD Tata became the chairman of the group in 1938. One of JRD Tata's first ventures was an airline. It was called the Tata Airlines. Later on, the government nationalized it and it became Air India. JRD Tata remained the chairman of Air India for several more years. Now, one of the things that JRD Tata would do, he would fly Air India and he would keep a keen eye out for whether all the details were right of the airline. Look at him here in this photograph, for instance, talking to the pilot and the air hostesses and so forth. I must narrate one story here, which is particularly impressive. I've narrated many stories in the book, but this is Air India Jumbo 747. It was an international flight, and seated next to him was L.K. Jha. L.K. Jha was one of the senior most bureaucrats in the Indian government at that time, very senior IAS officer. He had also been the governor of the Reserve Bank of India. He was an advisor to the Prime Minister, and they were seated in the next seat to each other. Now, L.K. Jha suddenly noticed that JRD Tata has vanished from his seat. And he was wondering, where is this man? Like, is the chairman of the Tata Group, where could he have gone? He waited for 10 minutes, for 15 minutes, no sign of JRD Tata. He waited for an hour. And after about an hour, JRD Tata comes back to his, after more than an hour. So L.K. Jha is puzzled and he asks JRD Tata, where did you go, Tata? I was concerned you were missing for an entire hour from your case. I just went around to see that everything was fine on the air. So L.K. Jha turns to him and says, but that could not have taken an hour, Mr. Tata. JRD then responds to him and says, you know, the toilet roll was placed well in the toilet. What really transpired amazed L.K. Jha, and L.K. Jha has narrated this story at a subsequent book launch event. Says JRD Tata, despite the chairman of Air India, the chairman of the Tata, went to each toilet in the aircraft, and because the toilet rolls were not kept properly, he changed them and made sure that they were kept properly. That is what an entire hour on the flight. Think about that story. The chairman of Air India, the chairman of the Tata Group, every single toilet in the aircraft to place the toilet rolls right because he thinks they have not been placed right. The lesson to me from that example, and there are many other examples of JRD Tata in a similar frame of mind. Stickler for excellence in whatever he did. He's, you know, often used to tell people, you do, don't be satisfied with second best. Aim for excellence in whatever you do. This story of the toilet roll is an example of aiming for excellence in whatever you do.